Welcome to Face Palm Sunday, the segment on the internet where we respond to, well, videos on the internet. And today we have a very AIDS-infested video by the one and only Buzzfeed. I've actually recently created a playlist on my YouTube channel, which will be linked down below in the description beneath all of my URLs. If you want to see all my Buzzfeed responses compiled into one, I'm trying to organize my channel. But Buzzfeed thought it would be a great idea to make a terrible video on what it's like to date with AIDS. Let me rephrase that, HIV-positive. AIDS may be an offensive word to use, and I don't want to make anybody feel horrible, right? The video starts out not very bad, actually, and I was like, yeah, I can agree with this to a small extent. And then, BuzzFeed just completely goes the opposite direction.
It's kind of interesting in the gay community that we went through so much profiling in our history, and yet we are the first to profile our peers.
My initial reaction when I found out I was HIV positive was that I was never, ever going to have sex again. I was never going to be in a relationship again. It just was basically over. And that lasted for quite a while.
Here's what I think about that. If you are HIV positive, I think that you should only date people who are, in fact, HIV positive. I mean, if someone who does not have an STD wants to really date someone with AIDS, by all means, they're allowed to do that. I'm not going to judge them for doing that, but you really do put your life at potential risk. You put your health at a large potential risk of being infected. And if your relationship lasts a long time and you're physical with this person, you're eventually, unless we have some magical new sort of medicine or something, you're eventually probably highly chance you're going to get infected.
I didn't know what to do, where to turn. I didn't think I was ever going to be worth dating. After being HIV positive.
It happened, but I didn't go through the stress or the angst that many people experience that many of my friends that have become positive have experienced. I attended my first leather event and I found out that the leather community is very open and accepting of people that are positive.
I got a lot of really rude, nasty messages online from people with no profile pictures, no way to identify who they were, and just, saying that, I'm giving people AIDS on purpose, or that I am infecting people, that I'm going to die, that I deserved it because I'm sexually free or sexually liberated, so I deserve it, that I'm a...
You do have a responsibility. If you have HIV, if you have an STD of any sort, you have an obligation to the partner, to the person you're having, even if it's a one-night stand, you have an obligation to let them know that you have this. If you don't, that's a crime, that's illegal. It is a horrible thing to do. So if you have an STD or something that can kill someone or affect them on a sexual health level, and can change their entire life in an instant, you have an obligation to tell them. If you don't, then what these people are saying to you is true, that you're a horrible person. Now, I don't think someone is a horrible person for getting an STD. You can get an STD through many different ways. Unprotected sex is one of the most highly risks of getting an STD of any sort. The comment you're gonna die is, sadly, it's kind of true. You may not be dead right now, but AIDS is severe, and it can kill people. It has killed people, and I don't believe anybody who's saying to you that you deserve to have an STD, no, you don't. I believe that every person, even if they are infected, deserve to be open, and deserve to be loved, and deserve to be respected, and they shouldn't be looked down upon because they have an STD. But what's interesting is the end here where you say about being sexually liberated, being sexually free. I would argue that if your definition of being sexually liberated is by letting, your blood flow down your legs because you can have a period and you're not going to use a tampon because you're a woman and you're sexually liberated and you feel liberated by flowing out your juices out in the public, down your pants, making blood stains, I don't consider that sexually liberating. I don't consider that being sexually free. That's just disgusting. Likewise, there are people, not a lot, but there are people who, I made a video about this a few months ago, on a woman who was proud that she had an STD and was basically saying that she should be glorified for having this STD. And no, I don't believe that. Not saying that this guy here talking about thinks this way, but I'm just mentioning for the sake of argument here, is that I don't find it sexually liberating to be infected by something that has such a high risk of death and can kill you and is easily infected onto other people. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, on some of these dating sites, they use a phrase when they're looking for a certain person. They'll say, you must be clean. So I'm being profiled as being a dirty person because I'm HIV positive, which is like farthest from the truth. So there's a stigma there for sure.
Not trying to be a dick here, but it is the truth. It is. I'm sorry, it is the truth. When people say on OkCupid, Tinder, whatever website they're using, Grindr, I think that's the Grindr's the gay thing, and they say I'm clean, what they're emphasizing here is that they want, they're showcasing who's ever reading their profile that, hey, I care about my sexual health. I don't want to be infected with an STD. I believe in safe sex, for the most part. That's what I think most people mean when they say, I'm clean, you must be clean too. They're not open to the possibility, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't believe in calling you a dirty man because you have an STD, but they're not calling you dirty. You're interpreting that way. You're interpreting the word you must be clean that way. All they're saying is that they want healthy sex. Healthy sex is important. Healthy sexual relationships. Not something that can potentially kill them. And like, if I can have healthy sex with somebody versus having sex with somebody who could potentially kill me or infect me with something that could affect me the rest of my life, which one do you think I'm going to choose? Like, realistically, how you interpret what people want is not reality. Just please understand that. Just because they are saying, I want someone who's clean, doesn't mean that they're shaming you.
It actually really sucks. For instance, on Grindr, I've been blocked when I've been like open and honest. They solely look at your diagnosis, categorize you like most of us do in America, put you in a box, and then kind of shove you off to the side.
And I think that they're justified in doing that. Is it kind of a douchey thing? Maybe it is a douchey thing. But if you tell them, hey, I have AIDS, they're not going to want to have any physical contact with you, for the most part, unless you can find someone who's into that type of stuff, and I know that there are. Maybe a small minority, but, you know, they exist out there. You can find them. Oh my gosh, I got blocked off Grindr because I told this guy I have an STD. People don't have to accept you for something that you, for the most part, did yourself. I mean, you got infected with this STD by several different ways. You had unprotected sex, or you exchanged bodily fluids in some way, and that person didn't disclose that they had that, or they did, and you still had a sexual relationship with them, thus you got infected. And that is a sense of responsibility. And when people say, when you tell them, hey, I have AIDS, they're like, oh, this person maybe isn't responsible. This person isn't someone who really puts his health up on the line.
I was able to have some relationships as far as being physical with guys again, but the boyfriend thing never happened. I have been single since the 80s.
To me, being HIV positive, I don't really notice it. You know, it's just something that it's part of me, but I don't think about it. I take a pill at night, and besides going to a doctor every 3 months to do my blood work, it's really a non-issue for me. It doesn't affect my life.
That's good for you, man, but it will affect your life when you're dead.
To those of you who won't open up your heart and date someone who is HIV positive, you need to open a book or go to a website, just like I did.
You need to open up your mind. You need to open up your mind. You need to stop being so narrow-minded. You need to date someone who's HIV positive. No, see, this video was fine up until this point of now you're trying to make people feel bad for not having an open mind, telling people that they don't have an open mind because they won't consider having a potential health risk for the rest of their lives that can fucking kill them. Like, this demand here to be open-minded to date someone who's HIV positive is ludicrous. And the fact that you try to make someone feel bad for having a dating preference, which is like a new thing here on YouTube I'm noticing, their preference is they want to have a healthy sex life and not be infected with something that could potentially kill them and never have kids, never have a family. The potential is so big and the risk is so high, it's not narrow-minded to think that way. And thank you very much. I've taken several human sexuality classes. I have a good grasp and understanding of why I would never want to date someone with an STD. That doesn't make me a bad person for not wanting to consider you or any woman.
With the advent of better medications for the last 8 to 10 years, I've been undetectable, which means that it's almost impossible for me to pass on the virus. So with my undetectable status and condoms and PrEP, that's just a triple layer of protection.
People are definitely missing out if they are closing themselves off from anybody who is positive or black, Asian, or feminine.
Stop right there. Did you really just compare being black with being HIV positive? Oh. Buzzfeed, come on now. Come on now.
You never know what a person has inside him and how he will surprise you if you actually give him a chance to get to know him. You are truly missing out if you are not meeting somebody just because of a checklist on his profile.
I see no problem with talking to someone with AIDS, with any sort of STD. Even being friends with someone like that, but I will not. Even if it's a low percentage, I will not risk myself the chance. I don't care how low a percentage, unless it's a 0%, unless there's no chance of it ever being passed, I'm not going to participate in being physical with someone who has AIDS. Never. No. Zip. Zilch. And I just hate the narrative of this entire video where, like, the last 45 seconds tries to make you feel bad for not wanting to date them. You and I have a responsibility for our sexual health. Our sexual health is very, very important. And you and I have a choice on what we do to protect ourselves from that. Don't let anybody try to convince you otherwise, that you're a bad, horrible person because you don't want to consider or even having the possibility of being infected by an STD. And you know, since we're on the topic of STDs and sexual health, I want to recommend an audiobook titled Nature's Nether Regions: What the Sex Lives of Bugs, Birds, and Beasts Tell Us About Our Evolution and Biodiversity. And it's a really great audiobook that you can listen through. Audible is the leading website for audiobooks for your listening, entertainment, and enjoyment. They have a wide library of audiobooks. You can sign up today using my vanity URL, audible.com/Mr. Repzion, link down below in the description, the very first link. Click that link, you can sign up today, you can listen to this audiobook for yourself, you'll get a 30-day free trial. But seriously, this book is fantastic because it really gives us perspective on evolutionary biology within understanding animals and their own personal sex lives, and how animals operate within bugs and birds and beasts. Human sexuality and animal sexuality is a fascinating subject, one that I wish more people in regards to religion would kind of try to educate themselves on. But again, check out my vanity URL, audible.com/Mr. Repzion. Sign up today for a free trial. Hope you guys enjoyed this Facepalm Sunday response. And until next time, I will see you guys on Tuesday.